Sancte Spiritus, et emite celitus, lucis tuae radium, veni pater
So when we look at God's plan for marriage, or when we look at the purpose of the marital embrace or the purpose of intercourse, we have to remember those two natures. So marriage is meant to be life-giving, but it's also about that unitive aspect. So when we look at the marital embrace, it's about bringing the couple together. It bonds the couple together, so that unifying aspect, but it's also a life-giving union, and it's called to be open to life. Because anytime a husband and a wife are together in that embrace, in that intimate union, it's really a renewal of our vows, where we've said, I give all of myself to you till death do us part. Not just pieces and parts, and it's really important to remember. Because again, with our within the sacrament of marriage, a husband and a wife are called to reflect the love that God has for each of us. So if we were to describe the love that Christ has for us as being free, total, faithful, and fruitful, right? And we see this love on the cross. Christ gave all of himself to us. He held nothing back. He didn't pick and choose how he was going to love us. He gave all of himself to up to the point of death to save us. And in the sacrament of marriage, a couple is called to a love that is free, total, faithful, and fruitful. And we see this in our vows, that we're called to give all of ourselves all of the time. Our vows don't say, I promise to be true to you and good to you for the next 5 years, and then we'll renegotiate the terms and conditions of our contract. So keeping that in mind, that this is a till death do us part union, we have to go back to the unitive and procreative natures of marriage and the marital embrace. So with natural family planning, what it allows a couple to do is to plan their families effectively, while also following what we're called to in the sacrament of marriage. Where contraception is a profound no. It's saying, I give all of myself to you except for this. I want all of you except for your fertility. So it's not a total gift of self, and it's not a total receiving of the gift of the other, and that's a problem. Why? Well, that's not how Christ loved us, right? Christ did not say, I give all of myself to you, but I'm not going to die for you. Or I promise to love you, but if you make mistakes, then the deal's off, right? So if we're called to reflect the love that God has for us, then we also have to be all in, right? So a couple in their vows is saying, I promise to be true to you in good times and in bad, in sickness and in health. I give all of myself to you, and I receive the gift that you are, everything, the good and the bad and the ugly, right? And it's the same within the marital embrace, because again, it's unitive and procreative, and we cannot separate those two things. So what does that mean? Does that mean that as Catholics we have to have 20 kids to be considered good Catholic spouses? No, that's where the church recognizes responsible parenthood. With natural family planning, a couple can discern, all right, are we called to have more children? Are we called to postpone pregnancy at this time? And based on the information that they receive from charting a woman's cycle, they can discern that more effectively. With the church's teaching on responsible parenthood, and this is really important and one of those common misconceptions, because people hear, the church teaches that we can't use contraception, so clearly the church must expect that I have 15 kids and that's it. But that's not a reality. What the church teaches is that the couple, and only the couple, can decide how many children they're called to have and when they're called to have those children. But the key part of that is that God needs to be part of that conversation. A couple can't just say, like, okay, God, we're done. We don't want any more kids, or that's it. Or even, we want to have as many children as possible. If God's not part of that discernment, and it really is a discernment that the couple needs to have, then there's a problem there. Because what we've said in our vows, I give all of myself to you, and in this life-giving and love-giving union that a couple experiences, God is part of that. So we can never ignore that God is present, right? And again, it's just a beautiful reflection of how God loves us. He gives us everything, and we in turn are called to give God everything, and also to give that gift of ourselves to our spouses.
Amen.